Hey guys, we need to talk about what is happening with valleyprison. The constant delays, the developers allegedly being underpaid, the broken communication behind the scenes, the bonus promises, the pay-to-win concerns, and what some developers are describing as scam-like behavior. You probably saw the ping in the valleyprison Discord server, specifically in the update channel. A developer tried to expose what was happening behind the scenes, and almost immediately it was shut down. But this did not come out of nowhere. Before we even get into the recent situation, we need to go back to an older message. And yes, I know this is slightly old, but that is exactly why it matters, because it shows the problems inside Valley Prison were not sudden. They were not random. They were not just one angry developer crashing out. This was building up for months. Message: a developer publicly announced that he was resigning from Valley Prison, and the reason he gave was not just "I'm leaving." He said he was leaving because of ongoing disrespectful communication from Gergo. One of the examples he gave was Gergo allegedly telling him, "You have to understand that you're working for me." Now think about that. After more than 2 years of building and contributing to the game, this developer says he was being spoken to like an employee with no value, not like someone who helped build the project. He also says Gergo begged him to return to help with UI and scripting, so this was not the same random person who barely contributed. According to this post, he came back because he cared about this project and the team. He tried to help, he tried to work, he tried to have professional conversations about compensation. And what happened? According to him, those conversations kept turning into yelling or getting shut down. That is important, because when a developer says he cannot even talk about payment without the conversation turning into an argument, that is not a healthy development environment. That is leadership. That is control. He also describes Gergo as having major mood swings. 1 second yelling, the next second acting like nothing happened. 1 second demanding updates, the next second apparently forgetting previous conversation or updates that had already been given. And this matters because it connects directly to the delays of the V3. If developers are being pressured for updates, but then the person managing the project is not listening, not remembering what was said, and not communicating properly, then of course the project becomes a mess. You cannot run a serious Roblox game like that. You cannot demand professional results while creating an unprofessional environment. Then he talks about compensation. This is where things get even worse. He says that he and several other developers were earning 3% each, while Gergo ended up with 75%. Now, to be clear, he says he's not bringing this up just to count someone else's money. He brings it up because compensation was part of the bigger issue: respect, communication, and fairness. And honestly, that is the real point. This is not just about money. It is about asking people to build your game, contribute for years, handle important systems like UI and scripting, and then making them feel like they cannot even discuss payment without being shut down. That is insane. Then he says Gergo promised bonuses if developers completed tasks, but according to him, those promises turn into mental games. That is a serious claim, because if developers are being told, finish this task and you will earn bonuses, but then the goalposts keep moving, the discussions get shut down, or the payment never comes clearly, then that is not just bad communication, that is exploitation. Before we get to David's story, I need to show you one thing. Gergo posted the official payment structure. It says it clearly. Everyone gets paid 3%. That is the rule. That is what every developer is supposed to get. Not a favor, not a negotiation, not based on performance. Just 3% for everyone. Now let me show you what actually happened. David was a builder for Valley Prison. On March 15, 2026, after working for over 3 months, he messaged Gergo about compensation. He said, "Hey, I wanted to ask if we could talk about compensation. It's been over 3 months since I started working, and I haven't really heard anything about it yet. 3 months, no rate, no agreement, just work." Gergo replied, "Yeah, of course, I would be more than happy to pay you at a commission rate." But David didn't jump into that. He first asked for what was already supposed to be the standard. He asked, would it be possible to have a 3% pay of the monthly revenue? If not, 2.5% would be fine, because I would prefer a stable payment. He even explained that commission-based work limits creativity. Gergo responded, I am not able to offer a percentage, but a flexible rate per task. So the system that publicly promised 3% was suddenly not possible? Gergo then explained the new system payment per task, with the amount agreed before starting. David asked about the work he had already done. Gergo said it could be paid as well. So David created a full breakdown of his work. Total 43.3k Robux. He even added, if you feel like it's not appropriate, let me know and we can discuss it. Gergo replied, would you be able to work at a total of 40k? So the price was reduced. David accepted, and he was paid 40k. Now the important question is not whether he was paid, it's whether it was fair compared to the system that was promised. Valleyprison was making around 900,000 Robux per month. 3% of that is about 27k Robux per month. David worked for about 3.5 months. On the 3% system, he would have earned around 90k to 105k Robux. Instead, he received 40k, less than half. Then came the second batch. On June 17th, 2026, David messaged again, reminding Gergo of the original promise that payment would be agreed before task. He said, as you said, you would always give me a quotation before the task, but we never did one. He then asked for 9k Robux for his recent work, because Gergo haven't given him any quotation, as he should have done. And after that, there was no response. A full day had passed, then another. They'd follow up saying, if you feel like something in the price isn't appropriate, let me know. We can discuss it. He was already expecting a reduction. After almost 2 days, Gergo replied, yes, that is perfect. Mind you, Gergo in that time was answering to other people in the development group chat. So the second batch was approved at 9k. Total across about 6 months of work, 49k Robux. Now put that into perspective. The game was making around 30k Robux per day. David total 6 months pay was less than 2 days of revenue. Converted to real money, that's roughly $100 to $190 total, for around 70 to 80 hours of work. That comes to about $2 per hour. Meanwhile, official systems still claimed a 3% base for developers plus a 2 million Robux bonus pool. Dade was not on that system. He was negotiating after the work was already done with no guarantees. He even said himself that he didn't push earlier because he was afraid of being removed from the project, like what happened with Downcharge. So the situation is not just that he was paid a low amount, it's the pattern. He was excluded from the 3% system. He had to negotiate after completing work. His first payment was reduced, his second payment took 2 days of silence. He had no contract, no protection, and no consistent system. And this was final result. 6 months of work for 49k Robux, which is roughly $2 an hour. That is what the screenshots show. This just shows how little was David paid. This was after 6 months of joining the development team, because he joined 11th January, and after 6 months David had earned a total of 49k Robux. 6 months of development for 49k Robux, while valleyprison was earning 30,000 Robux a day, guys. Do you understand? 6 months to get what Gergo would have gotten in 2 days max. Okay, here we can see Leaf saying that this was just miscommunication, as always, and don't believe anything you heard. So here we have David talking to the others after getting removed as a developer, and they told him that he should have brought up the thing in the open channels, say that he wanted more, saying that he wanted extra and everything, as he had to deprice. We would have helped you, they said. But simply, that's what happened with Downcharge, the other developer. They said he should have brought it up to the group chat. He could have talked with anyone. But was this a thing that the developer should have addressed, or something with the owner? That's why David haven't brought it up. And even Downcharge, the developers we saw before, he brought it up. He asked for more. And what he got? He got fired. So no one was allowed to even ask anything. They were just trying to convince the community that everything was okay because they didn't care. Another crucial thing, guys, you need to know about is the fact that valleyprison got acquired by Twin Atlas. A good part of the game was acquired by Twin Atlas, and to be honest, this is not gonna bring any additional value to valleyprison. It's actually gonna start their downfall with the pay to win thing that every game of theirs have. And here we can see that they actually proceeded with the deal, because as you can see, this was just an idea and they actually made it reality. So as you can see right here, we're in the valleyprison development Discord server, and there are some people that aren't part of the development team, and that is of course because of the Twin Atlas deal. As we can see, this Fonzie right here is part of Twin Atlas. So right now they proposed pretty bad ideas, like adding monetizations like all of their other games, and this lop, whatever you want to call it. The biggest thing is that nothing of all of this was talked with the community. Like, you are the one financing the game. So here on their Twin Atlas website that is public for everyone, they still haven't added the game here, but we can clearly see a pattern in whatever game is partnered with them, so they acquired. Here we can see entrenched, full of monetization, literally to the point where you can't even breathe in the game. And it's mainly some pay to win, something cosmetical. This Prisoner Life, it's pretty similar genre, and even that is so full of pay to win monetization. Then we can see right here this very bad UI, in my opinion. Of course, anybody is able to decide, but in my opinion it looks very bad. That's what they have been working in the last 9 months. The current situation of valleyprison is really going into a bad direction. Unless they start being more transparent, I don't think they're gonna go anywhere. I hope you're gonna be able to reason for yourself and decide what's best, how to act, what to do. I do not recommend you going against the owners, because it's not their fault, everyone can make mistakes. But I also recommend you checking out our game, Prisonfight, discord.gg/prisonfight. We have just released. We also want to bring some new insight of prison games, some prison game more centered towards fighting in a prison rather than role-playing, so you can check it out if you want more action. If you prefer the roleplay, you can keep enjoying valleyprison. I wanted just to make this video to make the situation clear, and I recommend you trying out Prisonfight. As I said before, it really brings an innovative PvP fighting action into a prison rather than just roleplay. And see you in the next one. Bye!